Don't settle for bad socks. Get comfort and grip at an affordable price with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Choose from 18 different colors at puregripsocks.com.
These are the top 10 football boots for wide feet in 2024. Keeping in mind that these 10 picks are recommendations based on my own personal experience and not the only 10 football boots that will work for somebody with wide feet, nor are they boots that are only for wide feet. If you have normal width or sometimes even narrow feet, a lot of these boots will still work. As I've said in past videos, most football boots are designed to fit most people. It's just a matter of finding the perfect boots for you because everyone's feet are a little bit different. Which is why I'll do my best to explain specifically where some of these boots are wider than others to help you make the best possible decision. With all 10 of these recommendations being available below their normal retail prices by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes via the links down below. And really quickly before we get started, if you enjoy this type of content, drop a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss out on my reviews of all the latest football boots of 2024. With that said, in no particular order, here are the top 10 football boots available right now for wide feet. Starting with an absolute staple in the wide foot category, the iconic Adidas Copa Mundial. Perhaps the most adaptable football boot currently available. Its full super soft kangaroo leather upper might be lacking in a little bit of structure. They're certainly not going to have that responsive feel that most modern football boots have today, and there's definitely more of a break-in process with a product like this, but you get them to fit really snug out of the box, and after only a couple wears, they stretch to the exact shape of your feet. Narrow, wide, it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's the most adaptable football boot perhaps ever made. The New Balance Tekela V4 Plus Pro Low in the wide fit variation. Of all the readily available football boots on the market, New Balance is pretty well the only brand offering their boots in both regular as well as wide fit variations. And while the regular fit variation is going to be suitable for the vast majority of people, should you have really wide feet, this boot has some great width and shaping to it that I think is going to accommodate a lot of people very comfortably. Plenty of width through the midfoot, plenty of width through the toe box and forefoot, but what I like about this boot in particular, and you can see it in the shaping, is while it's wide and rounded in the front area of the foot, they've kept the volume relatively low. So it's not going to be super wide and sloppy feeling at the front. It's going to be nice and snug all the way through, but with plenty of width to that base shape, in a product that overall is extremely underrated. It's also worth noting that you can get the Tekela V4 Plus Pro as a mid-cut laceless football boot, and if you're on the market for something laceless with wide feet, I do recommend that as the best option out there. However, whenever you have particulars in regards to how you want a pair of football boots to fit, with the laceless boot you lose out on adjustability, so I think having the laces of the low cut variation, as well as just the fact that it's low cut, is going to make these easier for you to get on if your feet are super wide, and generally just more comfortable because of the adjustability of the lacing system. If you're more of a thin, lightweight speed boot type of person, the Mizuno Alpha in either the more expensive made in Japan model or the less expensive elite model like I have right here would be a fantastic option. Its thin synthetic upper has overall shaping that I think is very generous in terms of width, pretty well all the way through, a nice rounded shape at the front, and because of this nice deep U-throat construction and central lacing system with its standalone tongue, there's plenty of room for expansion and adjustability, making it arguably the most comfortable speed boot on the market, wide feet or not. The 2024 Nike Phantom offerings in the low-cut GX2 Elite and the mid-cut Luna 2 Elite are both really solid options for somebody with wide feet. I will say that I think the low-cut GX would be the better option for a wider foot type in the sense that they're just going to be easier to get on because of the larger opening. And overall, I love the sock-like feel you get from this grip knit upper on the latest Phantom. There's plenty of width through the heel, midfoot, and forefoot, more so than what we had from the previous generation. However, there is one thing to note with these boots, and that's the toe box does taper quite a bit. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily narrow, but it certainly pinches as you get towards the tip of the toe. So if you're particularly wide in the toes, these might not be the best option, but if you want a wide fit all the way through and then kind of a tighter fit in the toes to give you a little bit more of that nimble sensation while still maintaining good width, this would be a great option. I know not everyone's into the brand, but the Skechers SKX01, basically their maiden top-end flagship football boot, is a really solid option, not just in terms of underrated performance, but for somebody with a wider foot type. There's plenty of width all the way through. It has a more rounded shape through the forefoot and toe box area, and plenty of volume as well, while still maintaining what I would argue is a high quality fit. I've talked about it in my review, but this is a boot that has a very similar feel for obvious reasons to the now discontinued Nike Phantom GT series. They're a little bit wider than those were, and I would argue significantly more comfortable. So again, if you can get past wearing the Skechers S on the side of your feet, this would be a fantastic option for somebody with a wider foot type. Probably the best value for money option in this video, but also a fantastic option for somebody with a wider foot type, is the New Balance 442 version 2 Pro, again in the wide fit variation. It's a football boot that in regular form already has some decent width to it, but with the wide fit version you get some extra width, some extra volume, and a general shape that is going to work for even the widest of feet. It's got plenty of width and nice roundness to the forefoot and toe box area that I think will be very accommodating for somebody needing some extra width and volume towards the front of the foot. And because it's kangaroo leather in that forefoot area, it's going to also have that ability to stretch a little bit. It also has that traditional U-throat construction with the standalone tongue, allowing the boot to open up really easily, making them super easy to get on, but still allowing for plenty of adjustability when you need the upper to hug the side of your feet in the most comfortable way possible. They're lightweight, they perform the part, they feel incredible for the money, especially if you need something wider. These are pretty tough to beat. Just like last year, the 2024 Predator offerings are great options for somebody with wider feet, specifically the top-end elite models, whether it's the regular one with the lacing system or the Plus FT variation with that fold-over flap tongue. They're both boots that, again, with their more traditional construction, allow for easier opening and just more expansion to the upper in general. But the Hybrid Touch 2.0 synthetic material also has some really nice kind of pliability to it, giving it some leather-like qualities, which is always more accommodating for a wider foot type. They have decent width and volume all the way through, a more rounded shape to the forefoot and toe box area, and while you could argue that they're definitely not the widest of all the boots in today's video, if you're looking for something that has a wider overall shape but still a snug fit, effectively that classic Predator feel in so many ways, these would be a fantastic option. The New Balance Furon V7 Plus Pro, again in the wide fit variation, is a fantastic option for somebody with wide feet looking for something in the speed boot category. I know when you think of speed boots, you probably don't think of New Balance. You'll tend to lean towards the Mercurial or Adidas X side of things. However, these are phenomenal boots for so many different reasons, and the fact that they're available in wide fit variations, giving you plenty of width through the heel, midfoot, and forefoot area just makes it such an appealing option for somebody that doesn't want to give up top-end speed boot performance, but of course needs that little bit of extra width. It's a super unique design with the off-centered lacing system, and the feel of this knitted upper is just incredibly soft and sock-like. Again, one of the more underrated football boots currently on the market, wide foot or not. Speaking of underrated speed boots, the Skechers Razor would be another unbelievable option for somebody with a wider foot type, in that the general shaping of the boot does have more width and volume than the average speed boot, certainly when compared to something like a Nike Mercurial, but still maintains a really high quality fit. And of course that one-piece upper construction that a lot of people are looking for from a top-end speed boot these days. The knitted material through the midfoot feels very pliable on your foot without squeezing it uncomfortably, which is often a feel that somebody with wide feet can really find as an issue with tighter fitting products like this. And then the synthetic material through the forefoot has some nice leather-like qualities and will give you that little bit of expansion as you break the boots in. As an overall package, the performance is phenomenal. The feel of this sole plate is great. And again, if you can get past wearing a pair of Skechers, there's a lot to enjoy about the Razors. The Mizuno Morelia II. You can save some money and go for the Elite model. It's really solid, but I really think splurging on the made in Japan variation is the way to go, in that the build quality and quality of materials, specifically the all-over kangaroo leather construction, not only makes this a very accommodating football boot for somebody with wider feet after a little bit of break-in time, but I'd make the argument that it's the most comfortable football boot currently on the market and criminally underrated. They are way lighter than you'd expect them to be. Unlike a classic Copa Mundial, they do have more modern shaping to them, where again, they are going to fit a little bit tighter out of the box. That's what you want from anything that is going to stretch, but after a few wears, they are going to form to the exact shape of your feet, and the overall experience is pretty much, like I said, as comfortable as it gets. The deep U-throat construction and standalone lacing system and tongue allows for plenty of expansion as well as adjustability, and the boots as a whole with this flatter base just tends to be very comfortable for somebody with a wider foot. If you've always struggled to find a pair of football boots that feel comfortable on your feet, these are definitely worth a look.